Hey guys, welcome to episode number 570. Today is Monday, so it's Update Monday, and today we're going on a little trip to a store called the Nano Tank. It's a brand new store that's opened up in Massachusetts. We're gonna go take a trip to see what it's all about. But before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you like this content, and if you want to help support this channel, you can always go check out myaquariumbox.com. Alright, we got a little drive in front of us, so let's get to it. So come along with me and learn how to be a better aquarist. Alright guys, we are at the Nano Tank in New Bedford, Massachusetts, owned by Scott Peets. Scott, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. We met at the Aquatic Experience this past year.
We did.
It's good to see you there. And this is the Nano Tank. Very cool store. You guys just opened in New Bedford, Massachusetts. How was that?
It was awesome.
Yeah? Exciting?
Yeah, it was exciting. It was nervous. It was a roller coaster of emotion. I'll tell you that right now. But having everybody come out and support me, it was amazing, mind-blowing.
Yeah. So we're here right before the store opens, so we get to take a spin around this entire room without any interruptions. So let's take a walk around. We can take a look at everything in the store, and I especially want to look at your stands that you've built, the air system, your water change system. You got a lot of cool things going on here in a very small space. So the Nano Tank,
yeah.
Right? It's a small fish, small aquariums. Right now, it's a fairly small store, but we are in a mill building, and this goes way back in that direction. Yeah. So in the future we may get some more space out of this place, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be good for an update.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely have a lot of space, but everything, I know you're into DIY, watch a lot of your videos, so and I'm the same kind of guy that likes to build my own stuff.
Right. So just right at the front of the store we've got this counter, and you built this?
Yep. And actually, I used to have a farm, so most of this wood, except for the top, is actually all reclaimed wood from the farm. Okay, that's cool. And I noticed that it's got this like burnt appearance. And I actually watched one of your videos that you had on Facebook. You had like a blowtorch outside, and you're like torching the wood. Yeah, you should have saw the people around the mill. They're like, "What is this guy doing?"
He's gonna burn the whole place down.
But yeah, so I used a flame weeder and just flame aged it, so you don't want to keep it on too long, just enough, depending on how dark or light you want it. Yeah. And then I used linseed oil to actually seal it. Okay. It's a very cool look. I mean, it sort of instead of staining the wood, right, you're just sort of like burning the surface very gently, and you're getting all the grains to come out, which is very cool. I like it. It's a cool look. So you got and like I said, this piece is new, and I found it at the big box store, and it was just cool how it was like different squares, so I think that kind of like, it's kind of cool. It's almost like puzzle-ish, plus with the flame aging, bringing out those grains, it came out really cool. Yep.
So we got a couple tanks right at the front counter here. We got a couple small betta bowls, and it is very warm in here, just so you guys know. So these guys are plenty warm here. This guy's really cool. Is he a koi?
Yeah, he is in the koi line. Okay.
I mean, he almost looks like a clownfish. Like, yeah. That's crazy.
And that's kind of why I think I fell in love with him when I seen him, and I was like, I have to have this guy for my counter. And I used to have clownfish actually, and they looked similar to him, so I think maybe that resonated with me.
Yeah, he's got the orange, the white, but then he's got that like blue-green. He is really cool. Yep. All right, so we got a couple betta fish on the counter here, and then down below it looks like we got some shell dwellers.
Yep, some multifasciatus.
Okay.
And they actually bred out for me, so I have 3 adults in there.
Oh yeah.
And a ton of babies.
Yeah, if you guys look right in the center of the screen inside the shell, we got some little babies swimming around. So they lay their eggs in the shell and they sort of protect it, and then all the babies just sort of hang out in there until they get bigger.
Yep, it takes usually, from what I've researched, it takes about a week for them to come out of the shell and actually start swimming around.
Okay.
But it was really cool watching the whole process.
Yeah, this is actually a fish that I want to attempt to breed at some point. I mean, it looks pretty easy. You just give them the right conditions. So we've got like a sand substrate here and a lot of escargot shells. Is that what it is?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So giving them a lot of different options to pick and choose from, and just making sure that it's the right size shell for the size of the fish. So very
and they
cool.
love to engineer, and that's why you want to have the sand substrate.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, that was once flat,
oh, wow.
a bunch of shells on top, and those little fish.
They did all of the work.
All of that.
So they are very particular fish, and they've done a great job.
Sometimes I wonder how deep they would have actually went if it wasn't top bottom.
They'd probably still be going. All right, so we got the front counter space here. So we move into the main part of the store. We have a aquarium rack system, and this houses what are these? Mostly we got 5-gallon and 10-gallon tanks.
Yep, and a couple 20-gallon tanks down below.
20-gallon tanks on the bottom. Now this houses primarily nano species, right?
For the most part, yeah. So most of my fish are community type fish, and a lot of them are nano.
Okay.
Eventually I might get some bigger fish, but I do have some like Honduran red points and stuff that do get about 5 inches, which is probably like, that and the bristlenose are probably like the biggest fish that I carry. Okay,
so let's briefly walk through, and we can take a look at sort of each of the tanks here. These are going to be a little bit difficult because they don't have lights.
And also because I put all the cones in there.
Yeah, we got some tannins going on. So we got some shrimp here on the sides, and actually this is one part of this stand that I absolutely love. I've never really seen anything like this. How the stand sort of extends past the last beam, and then you've got sort of these tanks out on the end. So a very cool look, especially right when you walk into the store.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I designed it that way too, because at first it was going to be a separate rack, and I'm like, you know, it'd be kind of cool if it came out and I knew it could support the weight because it wasn't too much out.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do great.
Yeah, so we got more shrimp here on the sides. We got alder cones. We got moss balls. We got a betta down here in the corner. Dumbo ear. All right, and we've got basically just air and sponge filters on these racks, right?
Yeah. So right now that's what I'm running. Eventually, I want to make put some matte filters in there.
Okay.
And that's why the backs are not painted right now, because I just figured it'd be a bad use of the paint.
Yeah.
I did paint the bottoms and the sides, so the fish tanks. So the fish can't see each other, so it's a little less stress.
Right, so we got black on the bottoms, black on the sides. Very cool. So we got some tiger barbs, neon tetras. We got some bristlenose. It looks like you got like at least 1 or 2 bristlenose in a lot of the tanks, right?
Yeah, I tried spreading them out just so they help clean up a little bit. And,
some cory cats. More tetras, some guppies. You know I like guppies. We got moss balls all over the place. Moss balls.
Yep.
Some more really baby catfish.
Yeah, so those anchor catfish, they actually stay pretty small, and they look like anchors, and that's hence why they're.
Yeah, they got like really long fins for the size of the fish. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're more nocturnal, so that's why they don't move as much.
Yeah, they're just sort of hiding.
Yeah.
We got some dwarf pea puffers. Everyone loves the dwarf pea puffers.
Such personalities. Look at them all coming to check out the camera.
Yeah, they're ready to get fed. We got some rasboras, and some more cory cats. down here. And these cory cats are a great size too, because like they're young, so they're gonna grow out, and you keep them for a long time. I hate getting the ones that are like full grown, because then you never know like exactly how old they are and how long they're gonna last.
I have tried to get a lot of younger fish, because that's the fun of it, is sometimes in the hobby is watching them grow and kind of seeing their personalities. If you sell a fish that's closer to the end of the life cycle, or it's too old, you know.
So we got some assorted swordtails. Great price on swordtails, by the way. It's crazy. Nice looking fish there. We're refilling some tanks. You actually said you ran out of water a little bit earlier, right? Refilling tanks.
Yeah, so doing as many water changes and being able to time the water and being able to treat it for the chloramines that are in our water here. You know, I kind of have to wait till it gets to the bottom of the barrel and refill it.
Right. Very cool nano fish here. Look at those eyes. That's crazy.
Yeah, those Norman's lamp eyes are so awesome.
Yeah, I've never seen those before. Those are awesome. And it's like just as bright as like a neon tetra, but it's just the eyes. It's cool.
Yeah. Sparkling gouramis, really cool. Fun fish.
I like how all the tanks are very neatly labeled, so people know what they're looking at.
Yep.
We got some more guppies here.
So some people have heard of Guppy Train on Facebook. Those are actually imported for us through Guppy Train. So those are the mosaic Dumboair.
Nice, very cool. I like the ram's horn too.
Yeah, a lot of people love those ram's horn.
Yeah. We got more Dumbo ear mosaics.
Yep. A lot of these are the babies from those. Those parents that are huge.
Yeah. Sorry for the focus, guys, on the video. Sort of tough to get a good focus. More guppies. We got some coolie loaches hiding.
Yeah, some from Benzis.
Okay. Yeah, hiding too.
Yeah.
Some of them cooperate, some of them don't. We got a lot of assassin snails in here, some cherry barbs, Honduras red points.
Yeah, those are babies, but they do get like 5 inches, and in the convict family, like I said, it's probably one of the biggest fish that I have in here.
Yeah.
Other than some of the cichlids.
Yeah. We got some baby autos.
Yep.
Some more cory cats. Guppies. Some more rasboras. I noticed you've got like a few alder cones in every tank too, huh?
Here and there.
Yeah.
I know it's an antibacterial, some of the tannins and stuff. And, and some of the tanks that we have not for sale is because we had some heating issues. So some of them got ick. We cleared up the ick, but I wanted to just give them a little bit better of a chance. I had some alder cones in there and just trying to help them out a little bit.
Nice. So, wow. Those apple snails are gigantic.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen these guys get that big. Like, there's a comparison for the size. Those are big. Those are like twice as big as I'm used to seeing. That's crazy. I like it. Just wait, they'll be trying to lay eggs and, and like climb out of the tanks in no time.
Yeah, we've been definitely keeping an eye on them, that's for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So this is the racking system here for the fish. You can notice that we've got the same sort of flame treated wood as the front counter, so everything sort of flows together really nice. One thing I like to do when I visit stores is take a look at how the racks are constructed, how the air system is put together, how the water changing system is done, because those are sort of some of the things that is usually a little bit different from store to store, and usually people sort of come up with unique solutions. So let's start with the rack system here. You've got, it looks like, what is it, 2x4 construction? We've got the...
I use the dado joint.
Yeah.
So basically you notch out and then put the runners.
Yeah, so this is a really good way to maximize your space, right? Because the wood is just sort of sitting on itself and supporting itself, so you don't have to use as much wood.
Yep. And a lot of strength. So these are helping, but they're not the main holding it together.
Right. This isn't holding any weight. This is what's holding the weight. This is just sort of tying the stand together.
Yep.
Front to back. Okay. So that's pretty cool. And then again, we notice there's no bottom to these shelves. All we're doing is using the glass tanks with the plastic frames, and as long as you've got it level, sort of front to back, side to side, those tanks can sit on that shelf without being supported underneath.
Yep. Yeah, as long as you get, I like to believe that if you get the corners with the plastic frames, that you shouldn't have too many issues.
Yep. And then just shimming, whatever isn't quite level at the end is really the most important thing, just to make sure everything is completely level.
Yep, absolutely.
So then I noticed these 20-gallon tanks on the bottom, they don't sort of fit front to back. So what you've done is you've just sort of run another board here, so that they're fully supported the entire length of the stand. And then we've got, what is this, about like 6 feet?
Yeah,
between...
Roughly 6 feet.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more. It's kind of a weird dimension, but yeah, it's roughly close to 6 feet. So
yeah, it fits these tanks basically exactly.
Yeah.
Which is good.
With a tiny bit of space on each end. But.
Yeah. So then up top we've got some space for storage.
Yep.
Which is good. And then these tanks, the bottom ones are actually pretty low, but I'm assuming you can still get like a 5-gallon bucket and get a siphon going down that low?
Yep. Yeah, we haven't had any issues as long as we put a 5-gallon bucket.
Okay.
I do eventually want to do automatic water change system.
Right.
But just budget-wise and time-wise, I kind of did what I had to at this time, but it's okay.
You got to get the doors open, right? You got to start making money. I hear that. And then over here we've got a plant rack, and you said this is brand new as of today. The plants just came in.
Yep. So that's why they're kind of all over the place.
Yeah. So those will get planted. So the water will clear up. You said you're still gonna get lights on these. I literally walked in the door and you were like trying to get these plants in. So so don't mind that. And then we've got a few more bettas for sale up top here.
Yep.
Which is cool.
I need to put some more water in their bowls and stuff, but
yeah. Nice. So that's the those are the fish. Those are the plants. But we do have a small selection of dry goods at the moment. It looks like we've got some Sarah fish foods and some additives and medications down here. We got some substrate on the bottom. Looks like we got like some small like nano size filters. Good selection of those. We got like the hang on back models, the sponge filters, some air stones, nets.
I went a little crazy buying nets, and you can see a Nano store, but I still got the 8-inch and 10-inch nets.
Well, I mean, you'll probably use those for yourself, if nothing else, I'm sure. And we got a few heaters as well, and some other odds and ends. So
yeah, we're definitely gonna get some more stuff. This is kind of like to start out again, to get the doors open, kind of feel out what my local community wants, and we figured we'd go from there.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of some more DIY stuff, we looked at the stand. Let's look at the lighting system, because I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. So I actually took some downpipe gutter pieces.
Okay.
Cut them in half. I bought the tombstones and the wire, and I actually found 5-foot bulbs, LED bulbs, 65K temperature, and I made all of this, wired it, and hooked it up to some switches at the end, so I could turn each rack on and off independently, and it's really good light. So so people can see the true colors from the 65K, and also if I wanted to grow some plants. So some of the plants that are in here are mostly my personal plants, but a lot of them have new growth and stuff like that. So.
Yep. Very cool. So, I mean, instead of buying like the full fixtures, right, you're able to sort of cut this downspout in half. Like you said, you just purchased the tombstones, which are the end pieces to the lights, and then you just buy the LED bulbs, plug them in, and you've got basically like a waterproof top to these things, and the LEDs don't produce a whole lot of heat, so you get a lot of light pointing down.
And I could have, you know, went with smaller fixtures, 4-foot fixtures. So those light bulbs are actually 5-footers.
Okay.
And, which is an unusual size.
Yeah.
They kind of fit in between the racking system pretty good. So so I had to make my own fixtures because you can't find a 5-foot fixture in some places.
Right.
And so if I would have went 4-foot, I could have easily bought fixtures and replaced the bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that the end tanks would just be a lot darker, and I figured if I can build it myself, why not?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's putting off quite a bit of good light here for all the fish and like the low light plants. So looks like it's working out pretty good. All right. Now, like we talked about, you've got sponge filters in basically every tank. So a lot of air. I can see back behind here we've got a PVC run. Can you talk a little bit about your air system?
Sure. So I use an Elita pump. It's the Elita 60, I believe.
Okay.
It actually produces more air than I actually need, but so I do have to
bleed it off.
Bleed it off a little bit. So make sure when you're building a system like this, you have at least one bleed area.
Right.
I have 2 in my system, just so if I ever have to, you know, open it up real fast, or like in this case where I don't have enough, I have too much air for the tanks I have, you can bleed it off.
Right. So is that a linear piston air pump?
Yeah, a linear air piston pump.
Okay.
Yeah, so super quiet.
Right. I have one of those in my fish room, and it's almost completely silent, and I've had mine running for like 5 years, so it's doing really well. But yeah, I mean, like you said, having the bleed is really important, because if you don't, it's going to put undue stress on the piston itself, and it's going to wear itself out faster, and that's no good.
So what I did is with the linear air piston, you want it to be a complete loop.
Yep. So you've got the pump is out back with like the heating system and all the noisy stuff is out back, and you've got, what is this, a 1-inch piece of PVC?
Yep. Yeah. So I decided to go with 1 inch.
Okay.
I tried looking it up, and I've seen everybody use pretty much every size. So I figured I didn't want to go too big, and I also didn't want to go too small. So I figured 1 inch would probably work out pretty good.
Yep.
And so what you're showing now is that I kind of made like a loop that comes down.
Yeah. So we've got a loop that goes all the way over, down, and then it comes all the way back. So the air pressure is sort of stable through the entire loop, instead of having an end where you might not have enough air pressure.
Yeah, and that also create back pressure, which would put wear on the pump as well.
Okay.
And I also did this loop here, so the lower tanks, I didn't have to run the longer airline, and then create, again, that creates a lot of pressure, because it has to send that amount of air to that little airline.
Yep.
And so if I dropped it down, it was a lot less line.
Right, so we've got the little, these like the self-tapping, like nickel alloy type valves here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used all of those. I thought that, you know, with the nickel, the metal, it just felt like it was a little bit better quality than just
the plastic ones.
Yeah. I'm not saying those don't work. It was just, you know, I just decided to make sure I could do it once.
Plastic gets brittle. It can break. I mean, these things are like easy. Like you're never gonna mess up with those things. So
no. And the only thing I wish with this system, and I might do eventually, is actually bring the system to the rack.
Okay.
So I originally kept
like on the back side of the rack, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I originally made this rack, and I put it out this distance, is because I was like, well, if I ever have to get behind it, And then I started putting the lines up.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I think it works really well. It still looks like you have plenty of accessibility back here.
Yeah, I can
and it
shimmy in.
Looks neat, looks clean, it looks good. Nice. All right, so then the other thing we have to talk about is your water change system, right? And we looked at a little bit earlier where you looked at the barrels that are out back, and that has like a big float switch. And then it's got a water pump, which pumps the water to the front of the store here to your water change system. Can we take a quick look at this and how this works?
Sure. So I just made this little thing so it actually sits on the tank. I decided to put these here so it doesn't like blow straight down.
Sure.
Kind of just because some of the tanks that do have substrate.
Yeah.
So I have an on and off ball valve.
Okay.
And I also have a switch, so it connects to the outlet, and I can turn that outlet on and off.
So it turns the pump on and off.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the pump is connected to that outlet, and I have just basically a remote.
Yeah, like a car clicker, and it just turns the water on.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, so it's good. So you're not running the water pump constantly, building up pressure and stuff like that. And so you can turn it on and off. So
you're heating your water back there, you're treating your water back there, and then you've just got this system out front, which is nice and neat and tidy, and that allows you to refill those tanks.
Yep, and I even made the
hook
hose wrap.
Yeah.
Super easy. I already had a whole bunch of extra pieces, so
why not? Yep.
And also with this system too is once I upgrade and want to upgrade to the automatic water change system,
you've already got your water line right here, and all you need to do is switch that over to a drip.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I think this store looks great. Again, this is just the beginning. I think you've got a lot of variety here for nano species. You got the fish, you got the shrimp, you got the plants. You got a lot going on. I'm super excited to see where you take this store, because I've seen out back. It's a little bit of a mess right now, but you got plenty of space to extend this store, and I'm really hoping to see this thing grow.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of options and a lot of plans. So I'm just hoping that, it becomes a success and we can keep growing and build this not even just for me as a great store, but also for the fish community in our area.
Sure. So if people want to visit the store, where do they go?
So we're at 56 Conduit Street in New Bedford.
Okay.
And so that's a mill building, and I'm still working on signage, so bear with me. But it is a big mill building. It's kind of, it's a place you look at and you're like, there's no fish store in there. There is.
Yep.
But I usually put a sandwich sign out that says we're open, and we have a banner on the fence, so look for that.
Okay.
And so so we're in this mill building, and then you walk into the first door, and I have a sticker on that says the Nano tank.
Yep.
Again, signage is going to be upgraded.
Yep.
So it's a little bit easier to find.
Yeah, for right now, just look for the door that says 56 above it, and you'll find your way.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. Okay, and then if people want to find you online, where do they go?
So I have a YouTube account, Facebook, and also an Instagram. All of them are the Nano Tank.
The Nano Tank. All right, Scott. Well, thanks for the tour. Thanks for having me. Thanks for showing me around. I think you got a lot of awesome stuff going on here. I'm super excited to see where you take this business. So thanks for the time, and I'll see you later.
Thank you. Appreciate your time as well.
All right, thanks.
All right, and we are back from our trip. It was awesome to see the Nano Tank. It's great to see stores when they're just starting out. There's so much potential, so much room for growth, and I really hope that that store takes off and succeeds. So, next up, we need to talk about a little contest that I started 2 weeks ago, and that was a 30,000 subscriber contest. Congratulations to Susie Q from Q Aquatics for winning that. And what it is my help in redesigning her fish room. I'm really excited to get started. It's something that we're gonna tackle over the next few months together, and hopefully if you go check out her channel, Q Aquatics, I'll link it down below, hopefully you can see the impact that this has on her fish room over time. So definitely go check out her channel. She's got a great fish room that she's just starting to build, and I think there's a lot of efficiencies that we can bring to her fish room together. So one of the biggest things that I saw right off the bat was the electrical. She's running a lot of electrical plugs. Every tank is its own tank, so it has its own heater, it has its own filter, it has its own light, so lots of electrical cords. That's a common problem when setting up a fish room for the first time, especially for tanks that aren't drilled and aren't connected. There's just wires all over the place, and that's sort of a fire hazard. So that's one of the things we're going to work on. There's a lot to do in her fish room to help build it out and make it exactly what she wants for all of the fish that she intends to keep. So stick around, go check out Q Aquatics on YouTube so you can start to see the transformation in her fish room. I'm excited about it, and I hope she is too. Actually, I know she is too.
All right, next up on the list is our little plant corner. As you guys might recall, we planted some seeds a couple weeks back. Those have not sprouted yet. However, they're over here. They are staying wet and they have some light. So hopefully, with any luck, they will start to sprout here within the next few weeks. I do like these lids here. It's keeping sort of the humidity in there, which is good, which means I only have to water them every few days. But we recently transformed this shelf into a plant shelf. This was a shelf that I used for a lot of my live cultures of green water, but ever since I lost my Daphnia culture, I don't really have a need for that, so I tore all that down. It's sort of been sitting vacant here for a while, and I thought it'd be nice to plant it with some pothos, something that can grow, something that will sort of start to drape downwards, and eventually when they get long enough and they've grown some roots that have adapted to water, maybe we can transplant those into some of our fish tanks as well. Now, one thing I have neglected a little bit over here is this baby banana plant, and I am planning on repotting him within the next week or so, so hopefully he can move outside once it gets a little bit warmer. But what I did over here with these pothos vines is I cut them from the mother plant, and I left as many leaves on them as I could, except for the stem portion here, which I put all the way to the bottom of these little plastic jars. I filled them up with hydrogen media, which is like an aquaponics, like clay ball media, and then I just filled them with aquarium water. So I'm hoping, with any luck, they're gonna get plenty of light, they got plenty of water, and the roots will regrow on these plants, and they will grow, and then I can transplant them elsewhere. For those who don't know, pothos is a pretty good plant at sucking up nitrates from your water, and every time they put off a leaf, they also put off like a little nodule, and that has the potential to grow into its own set of roots. And it seems like they have two different types of roots. They've got roots meant for soil, and then they've got thinner roots that do well in water. So all of the roots from the soil have been chopped off when I chopped each individual one of these branches, and now that it's in water, hopefully those roots meant for water will start to grow, and these plants will carry on. I wouldn't be surprised if one or two don't make it, but I've got quite a few here, so I'm looking forward to that. I also have quite a few spider plants. This is one of them here, and I do need to get some additional pots and start to plant these too, because I've got quite a bit of spider plants. So I'm hoping that all of these plants can move outdoors once it gets a little bit warmer, and maybe we just have pothos vines going 10-20 feet all over the place, wrapping all around the greenhouse, up and down. I think it'll be pretty fun. So that's what we're going on. That's what we have going on down here on the plant rack. Alright guys, and here's a product that I am particularly proud of, and that is the dried banana stem. This is something that is new to my aquarium box, and we recently sent out some banana stems in our most recent box. And as you can see, it's basically a combination of different size pieces of a whole banana stem. So chopped down into basically finger-sized pieces here of all types. So you got the larger pieces at the top, the big, woody stem pieces, all the way down to the smaller stuff. And this is a byproduct of the banana industry. And I found that you can use dried banana stems in your aquariums as a botanical and also as sort of a feeding surface for your shrimp. Now, banana stems like this, they're completely dry. They'll float for a while. You can either boil them or just let them float for a few days, then they'll saturate and sink. And what will happen is your shrimp and all of your little aquarium critters will start to pick at the surface of the banana stem and use it as a feeding surface. Now, anything that's organic is going to be a source for microorganisms, and as it softens up, it starts to break down. So any of your very tiny fish and your shrimp will either feed on like the biofilm that's created from a piece of banana stem like this, or they'll feed on the small organisms like infusoria that are growing and living on a surface of a piece of organic matter such as this. Other than that, they also look kind of cool, and if you spread this around in the bottom of like a planted tank that's supposed to look more like a biotope and have that botanical type feel, it makes a good addition. So it serves two purposes. Now this is what a piece of banana stem looks like after about 2 or 3 months in an aquarium. You can see it gets darker. You can see it starts to get a little softer, and at this point this one's just about ready to get tossed out and be replaced with some of the fresh dried banana stems. Now we carry this in 2 sizes. We got the 4-ounce bag and we got the 8-ounce bag, and we got them for a really good price on shop.myaquariumbox.com. So this is one of those things that was really interesting to discover, but not very surprising, is that the byproducts of some of our other industries, like the banana industry or the coconut industry or the nut industry, and like all on and on and on, a lot of those byproducts that are basically useless to people that are farming them for human consumption actually turns out to be really good for aquariums. So I'm looking forward to launching a lot more botanical type items in the future, and you can definitely check those out if you are a My Aquarium Box subscriber, or if you go on shop.myaquariumbox.com. Anyways, I thought that was an interesting little thing to share, and I wish I had some shrimp, but I did actually send some of these to Rob at Flip Aquatics so he could test them out in his tank. So hopefully in the future we'll get some footage from him and we can see all the little shrimp pecking at these pieces of banana stem. I know a lot of my fry in my tanks are all over these, so pretty interesting little thing.
Alright guys, and that's gonna do it for this week's episode. We had a lot of fun today going to visit the Nano tank. So many cool fish. I love Nano tanks, I love Nano fish, plants, everything that's going on there is super exciting, and I hope that that store expands and grows and really becomes a centerpiece of the Massachusetts fish store community. There's not a whole lot of good fish stores left out there, so anytime a new store comes online, we have to help support it. So if you live in the area, go check out the Nano tank. We had fun down in the fish room talking about our plants, talking about banana stems. We announced the winner, Q Aquatics, of the 30,000 subscriber contest, Greg Jones Online contest. we're gonna help redesign her fish room. We did a ton today and it was super fun. But we've got a lot more to do down here in the fish room, and we will be getting to that next week. As always, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you want to help support this channel, you can always go check out myaquariumbox.com. Anyways guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.